Morning. I would like to call the City of Mount Vernon City Council meeting to order for July 23rd, 2025. The time is now 7 p.m. Would you please stand with me for the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 1C is our roll call of council members. I will ask our City Finance Director to please call the roll. Doug
Councilmember Brocksmith,
is excused tonight.
Councilmember Beaton,
Here.
Councilmember Molinar,
Here.
Councilmember Hudson,
Here.
Councilmember Tercero,
Here.
Councilmember Cadellas,
Here.
and Councilmember Vanderstoop.
Here.
Thank you, Doug. Item 2 is the approval of tonight's agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Melissa, second by Gary. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion passes. Item 3 is community comments, and if there's anyone in the audience tonight who wishes to address City Council, we would ask you to come forward, state your name and city of residence, and limit your comments to about 3 minutes. Anyone here to talk to City Council? All right, seeing none, we will move on. Item 4 is the consent agenda. Council, tonight's consent agenda, again, contains meeting minutes, payroll checks, wire transfers, and claims.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Mary and a second by Melissa. Any other discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. It passes. We'll go to committee reports. The Finance and Parks and Enrichment Services Committee met tonight at 6 o'clock, and Councilmember Gary Molinar is the chair of that committee and has a report for us. Gary.
Okay, we opened up the meeting at 6 o'clock. First up was Jennifer Berner, our Parks Director. She talked about our levy lid update. We were kind of looking at the title of it and felt like there should be a change. And it's a resolution will be 1078 and it will repeal the initial resolution 1077. The new title change was, it used to be Community Service and Improvements, and it's going to change to Basic Public Safety Essentials Services and Improvements. So that will be tied to that levy lift. We also did a resolution for pro and con committee for the levy lid lift. 3 applicants applied, and they are Danny Pickering, Mark Holst, and Mike Libera. There were no applications for any on the con committee. Those must be turned in to the county by August 15th. And the city's putting in a lot of work to get some of the information out and be very clear about what is involved in this levy lift. We'll be doing Facebook websites, flyers, mailers, also things in our public utility bills and things like that. Second, we talked about the enrichment services with our summer programs. Little Kicker Soccer League, 274 youth participated or in the process of participating. Or 28 teams and 53 volunteer coaches. We also had the Silver Bowman archery, and there was had 40 people sign up for this, and that was a full registration. That was pretty amazing. There was 2 different sessions of that. We also have this Skyhawk sports camps. Currently have 154 youth registered in these sports camps. And also our outdoor nature camps and have 80 youth enrolled in those also. Next, we talked about a $60,000 youth mentoring program grant that will be funded for 2 years. It is funded by the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention. So and we're actually partnering with the Boys and Girls Club, which is great. And this 16-week program is for middle school and high school age teens. Then we had a recreational building update remodel. Did a lot of just fixing things up. Had more classroom space and just got some of the lighting fixed out too, and so it really looks really nice. And then we talked about the Arts Festival, which is this Saturday at Hillcrest Park, and we also have the National Night Out with Public Safety and others in, that was August 5th, what you said? 5th, yeah, 5th.
That's what Google said.
That's what Google said. Google knows. All right, and then we close the meeting at 6:30.
All right, thanks, Jerry. Last week, City Council had its Development Services Committee meeting, and Council Member Melissa Beaton chairs that committee and has a report. Melissa.
Thank you, Mayor. First up, we heard about some project updates in the city. We heard about an update on a Mountain Gate development, and I believe that's over on Blackburn. They're tentatively at 66 units of single-family and multifamily housing, and I believe shooting for late fall, December. I'm getting a nod from Stacy Good to get that development rolling. And then High Point Estates that currently is permitted for 16 single-family homes with 8 permits pending, and that's the development up off of 54th, which is just outside of Harriet Raleigh. And then JJ Place Apartments. This potential development is located just south side of College Way. They were working with some wetland fill, and so they've gone through some private mitigation, and so it looks like that project will be moving forward as well. And then also the Oasis Teen Shelter. Staff worked to get a temporary occupancy permit so that they could have their open house last Thursday, and it was a fantastic turnout. Then we received an update on our battery energy storage systems, or BESS, our moratorium. So we received an update on that. Tonight you'll see a 60-day, we're required to have a 60-day public hearing, and so you'll see that tonight on our agenda. And also you'll see an ordinance in regards to that. Currently, there is no zoning classification for these energy storage systems. So without it, permits would be administrative, and your city representatives, the council, would lose the ability to decide on whether to regulate these, where to site these. And there's concerns. There's public safety concerns. There's environmental hazards that include toxic smoke. There's a lithium ion risk, economic impact, site security, and siting near sensitive areas, should they go in near schools or hospitals. Staff did note that this industry is really outpacing regulation, and so this moratorium will give us a little bit of time to do our due diligence. So council also requested that an expert come from both, proponents and opponents of these, so we can hear a little bit more. And then we moved on to the comp plan update. We heard the review from the June Citizens Advisory and Planning Commission. The summary included discussion on housing goals and policies, C2 rezone to allow multifamily, development incentives, and mixed-use typologies. Coming up through July and August, staff will continue public engagement, joint meetings, and the SEPA data collection will be collected. Then we moved on and we discussed some proposed code amendments for possible early adoption. This included, before December, changes to density definitions, CUPs. Oh gosh, I just lost Andrew. Conditional use permits. Sorry, a little old. Forgot the word. Conditional use permits in the R3 and R4, and then also allowances under R2. Then we discussed the adoption, perhaps, and impacts of gross versus net density. Currently, the city uses a net density methodology. Gross density provides higher density by using the whole area of a parcel, so they would be allowed to cluster the units. So I'm not even going to go into it. Early adoption, it's really complex. But, we did talk about early adoption of these changes, bypasses, public and planning commission review, concurrency to include streets, sewer, water. We need to make sure that, that's all covered. It would be a significant undertaking to revamp the city's density methodology. Not that we won't do it, but it would be a big undertaking. There were no agenda requests, and then for miscellaneous, the mayor, I was going to say staff, the mayor indicated that we were going to revise the title of our levy lid lift for clarity. Currently, it's titled Levy Lid Lift for Community Services and Improvements, and we're going to rename it what it is and that it's easier for folks to understand. It is a levy for basic public safety, essential services, and improvements. And with that, we adjourned at 7:53.
Thank you, Melissa. All right, council member comments. Any council member comments tonight?
I have one brief comment.
Yes.
I just wanted to give a shout out to parks. I had the opportunity today to walk along the River Walk. And over the years that I've been on council, sitting next to Councilmember Molinar here, we've always had conversations about the hanging baskets. And they are, I don't know what you're doing, I don't know what you're feeding them, but they are absolutely gorgeous. So nice job.
Stunning, actually.
Yeah, they are.
Stunning.
Stunning.
Okay. Quite a compliment. Thank you. All right. Item 5C is the mayor's report. Wanted to talk with the public just a little bit about the comprehensive plan update. If you've listened to a city council meeting or been around City Hall at all in the last year or so, you've probably heard comprehensive plan update mentioned. I want to talk about what it is. Our comprehensive plan is a 20-year plan that the city is required to put together to demonstrate how we're going to accommodate for growth in our city. And the state gives us a projection, a number of how much we may grow by in the next 20 years, and expects that the city will update its codes and update its plan for its streets, its parks, sewer connections, housing. If we're supposed to have 12,000 new residents in the city over the next 20 years and 5,200 homes, where will those homes go? And what will the city look like? How will it operate and continue to serve a growing number of residents? So that comprehensive plan update is done every 8 to 10 years. Again, it's a 20-year plan, but this is our year to update it. In June of 2025, City Council approved a comprehensive plan schedule with the purpose of adopting comprehensive plan amendments and development regulations that are going to allow and encourage a number of different housing types. So missing middle, affordable housing, shelter, transitional housing, emergency housing, permanent supportive housing, the full spectrum of housing options. You can find out more about this whole process on the city's website. So www.mountvernon.gov. On that, you can find, if you go to the development services page and you look at the bottom left column, you'll see the 2025 to 2045 comprehensive plan update. You click that link and it takes you into a number of different options. You can sign up for notifications for public input. This is where we really want to get your input on what your opinion is on some of these codes that are going to be or may likely be implemented. These things are going to affect density. They're going to affect how neighborhoods looked. Melissa reported on the recommendation to City Council that they incorporate residential in our C2 zones, in our commercial zones. That's not allowed in Mount Vernon now. It is allowed in other cities. And so that is a substantial change to the way we will look. And so we want to hear back from you. We've heard from some folks who think that's a fantastic idea. We'll bring in new business. We'll accommodate for more housing types, and some that don't want to see more density in the city that they move to for its rural charm. So a number of opinions, we want to hear them all. And so we are inviting you to get onto the website there. You can sign up for a notification to be notified of meetings that are coming up. On the next slide, you'll see an icon will take you to a page where you can fill out a survey. This is a way for you to just directly participate in this process of updating codes around housing, infrastructure needs, and that we're going to be planning for in our city over the next 20 years. We need you to participate. Please take 10 minutes to fill out the survey and tell us a little bit about what your ideas are for the future of this city and how this update is going to look. On the next slide, we're also making the effort to get out of City Hall and engage you, our residents, on these things. So you're going to see us at some events around the city in the next few weeks. You'll see us at the August 16th Valley Fest 3-on-3 tournament downtown, also the August 24th Valley Made Market event downtown. Those will be opportunities to talk with staff, to take the survey, to give direct input. And in addition to that, there's a lot of discussion about the comprehensive plan update going on at the city's planning commission meetings. So those are coming up next week, next Tuesday, July 29th, and August 5th and 19th. You're going to have the opportunity there to listen to recommendations for changes while those recommendations are in their formative stages, before it gets too far down the planning pipe here and gets implemented into code. So now is the opportunity to participate in that and to influence it. Each of those last 3 meetings there also give you the opportunity to speak at the meeting. So I would just say, I guess, in closing, governing is challenging and it should never be done in a vacuum, right? So we need to hear from as many of our residents as possible before we make decisions that are going to impact all of us for years to come. So please consider participating in that survey and that comprehensive plan update. And that is your mayor's report for July 23rd, 2025. Thanks, Steve. We're moving on to new business. Item 6A is a public hearing and approval of an ordinance for battery energy storage systems, and Development Services Director Stacy Pratchner has this item. Hi, Stacy.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
As the mayor said, this is the 60-day public hearing pursuant to Chapters 35A and 36 of the Washington State RCWs for council to accept public testimony, to deliberate, and if it's your pleasure, to provide guidance regarding adoption of draft ordinance number 3915 relating to battery energy storage systems. I will note for council that there is a Scrivener's error in the second whereas preamble of the draft ordinance that was included in your packet in advance of this meeting. There is a date listed in that second preamble as May 28th, 2024. That should read May 28th, 2025. If it's council's pleasure to adopt an iteration of the ordinance this evening, we'll get that fixed. Council will recall on May 28th of this year that the body declared an emergency and adopted a moratorium of accepting applications for battery energy storage systems. The moratorium, adopted pursuant to Ordinance 3913, describes that the purpose of these systems, among other uses, are being developed for use by electrical utilities and other suppliers to store electricity and to release it on demand to all users on the electrical grid. Now, currently, the city does not have siting criteria or regulations to address safety standards or the placement of these systems. The Washington State Growth Management Act anticipates that cities will not always be prepared with a regulatory or policy framework, sometimes even of sufficient infrastructure for all development proposals that may come its way. Therefore, through the RCWs that were just cited, the state authorizes jurisdictions to adopt moratoria to allow a city time to consider and prepare for such regulations. Draft Ordinance 3915 for your consideration proposes to renew the moratorium that was established in May pursuant to Ordinance 3913, and it includes a work plan, for a maximum of 1 year as allowed by statute to develop regulations to adopt permanent code to authorize battery energy storage systems. Now, this timeline can be adopted at council's pleasure to 6 months. That 6 months keeps in mind the GMA legislative timelines that are required for public notice, SEPA, and public hearings that are required when you do code amendments. Now, subsequent to the public noticing for the 60-day public hearing, the city is in receipt of written comment. That is going to be read into the record for you by Special Projects Manager Sexton. That written comment comes to us from Puget Sound Energy. Mr. Sexton, would you like to come in and read that? Subsequent to his reading, I'll ask if there's any questions before we open the public hearing.
Steve?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Stacy. Yeah, Council, we received a letter dated July 21st, 2025 from Puget Sound Energy, as Director Prashner said. I'll just read this as is. It's addressed to Mayor Peter Donovan, also Rebecca Bradley Lowell, Principal Planner and Planning Manager, regarding the interim ordinance number 3193 on battery energy storage systems. Dear Mayor Donovan, on behalf of Puget Sound Energy, PSE, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to comment on the city's emergency moratorium on interim ordinance 3193 relating to battery energy storage systems, BESS. PSE is Washington State's largest utility, serving about 1.2 million electric customers and 900,000 natural gas customers. For over 150 years, we remain committed to providing safe, reliable, and affordable power to our customers. Demand for electricity is growing, especially during summer heat waves and winter cold snaps. As a result, our electric grid is near capacity, putting everyone at risk. When energy demand surges, BESS can help provide clean, reliable, cost-effective, and immediate power to help avoid outages. BESS are an important part of PSC's plans to provide reliable power our customers expect, while delivering more of the clean energy required by Washington's aggressive clean energy requirements. PSC's efforts include both utility scale and smaller residential or community-sized batteries. In our current integrated resource plan, PSC projects a need for nearly 1,500 megawatts of energy by 2030. PSC is at the forefront of the clean energy transition, and we are undergoing the most significant transformation in our history as we strive to meet the state's clean energy laws. Passed in 2019, the Clean Energy Transformation Act, CETA, commits Washington to phasing out coal by 2025, have a carbon neutral electricity supply by 2030, and be 100% clean by 2045. CETA includes specific requirements for utilities to meet these goals. BESS has the potential to solve the energy challenges we are facing. They can provide temporary backup power when you experience an outage, help businesses manage their usage, and much more. Their ability to provide storage for renewables like wind and solar can also support our customers and PSC's desire for cleaner energy. That is why we are exploring BESS in a number of locations to evaluate how this exciting and rapidly evolving technology can provide safe and affordable options for homes, businesses, and communities. By committing to innovation now, BESS and other grid modernization initiatives are creating a better energy future for us all. PSE is committed to working proactively with the city to address concerns around BESS and provide input on potential regulations. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me at 425-418-0987. I hope Robert doesn't mind getting a lot of phone calls now that I put that out there. or robert.knoll@psc.com.
It's a public document.
It's a public comment, right? Sincerely, Robert Knoll, Government Affairs, Puget Sound Energy. And a copy went to the council as well.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks.
Council, if you have questions for Stacy before we open the public hearing, now is the time. Okay. With that, we will open up the public hearing for the battery energy storage systems permit moratorium. Anyone wishing to address council, the public on this? Come on up, please. Please just state your name and your city of residence.
Mayor Donovan, council members, my name is Alicia Lewis, and I am a resident of Mount Vernon. I've just condensed some notes to read tonight for speed. First, I'd like to say that I think it's important that the community continues to be better educated on ways we can reduce the grid usage. I recall a PSE insert with our bill not long ago listing the amount of electricity needed for common household items. Hair dryers were at the top of that list. I wonder what amount of grid reduction it would take from both households and businesses to make a sizable difference in the challenges PSE faces today. Now we find ourselves knee-deep into what some people think is a solution with the installation of lithium battery energy storage systems, or BESS. With what little time and involvement I've been privy to this topic, I found that many questions are still unanswered from citizens who have been in the weeds with it for over a year at the county level. I can see how challenging it has been for them to get a seat at the decision-making table, with only enough time to get answers to really important questions that should concern us all. Here are a few. It is my understanding that the electricity generated by BESS may or may not be available or sold to our local community when we need it. The company can sell and distribute it to the highest bidder, even if it's in another state. It is also my understanding that once the facility is built and up and running, there is little oversight. The company comes in and builds it, gets it up and running, and then everyone leaves to go on to the next site. When we're done with the lithium batteries, how will this toxic waste be disposed of? Where does it go? Fires. Again, thermal runaway is a great concern, as mentioned by the fire department. You can't extinguish the fires. They have to burn out, and that creates pollution. And this is the biggie. Who is held accountable for any adverse effects, such as smells, noise levels, fires, air pollution, water pollution, land pollution, and any necessary evacuations? You may think it's okay if it's in an industrial area, but there are also farmlands from which we eat our food, drink our water, and breathe air. BESS systems are a new thing, and whenever you have a new thing, there is very little, if any, track record from which to determine if they work well in the long run and what side issues might surface in the future. The only people right now who can speak to any long-term effects of BESS are those cities and counties that have approved and installed them in the last couple of years. Let's reach out to them, especially the ones that have experienced fires, like San Diego and Moss Landing in California, for more understanding and clarity of the pros and cons. We live in a time where the world is moving faster than ever before, with some kind of new technology being introduced every single second. During the time it took me to prepare these notes, I received 2 Facebook posts about inventions that specifically generate electricity. Here's one, a revolutionary device that pulls electricity straight from the humidity in the air. It uses a special material made from protein nanowires, microscopic threads produced by natural bacteria that generate electricity simply by being in contact with moisture in the air. Another one, salt air battery. German engineers have developed a sustainable salt and air battery that operates without lithium, cobalt, or rare earth minerals. Instead, it uses a mixture of sodium and ceramic conductors to store and discharge energy efficiently. With growing concerns about lithium mining, this alternative offers a path towards sustainable and ethical energy storage. Now, this was just 2 in like a couple of days. I'm sure there's more coming. So in conclusion, I'd like to thank the council for proposing this moratorium on applications for lithium battery energy storage systems in the city of Mount Vernon. This allows us as a community to take a minute and do a deeper dive together before signing on to the latest, newest technology. Thank you.
Thank you, Alicia. Anyone else? You just state your name and city of residence for the record.
Thank you, Mayor Donovan. My name's Kevin Moss. I live in Mount Vernon, and I came back from vacation to talk to you guys about batteries. This council has been grappling with several emergencies lately. We have a housing emergency, which I've talked to you about before, and more recently, a budget shortfall. Thus, I was surprised to learn that the council and your staff has been spending time and effort on a battery storage emergency as well. First of all, for almost 12 years, I have parked a battery-powered electric car in my basement. Just like any cars in basements, that is not without risk. Gas-powered cars can catch fire. I have never once worried about my battery-powered electric car, even with its 12-year-old battery technology. It's tended by a software-controlled cooling system, and it works great. If it's too hot, it vents heat. Even in my basement, it's never been a problem. The battery storage systems that utilities are proposing are several generations newer than my ancient car batteries. They're controlled by specific software that doesn't need to do things like worry about driving down the road at 90 miles an hour and then sitting at a charging station. If you're in a utility battery storage facility, it just does one thing. It takes two things: takes in power, releases power. That's all that software has to do. They got better chemistry, newer batteries, improved cooling. Now I want to move on to the financial side. Obviously, happy to talk to you about battery safety. Love the idea of batteries. On the financial side, think about utilities. They're going to bring in, assuming they ever do so in Mount Vernon, large containers of batteries. Each container of batteries is worth about $1 million. I'm a business owner that owns energy assets in Skagit County. I can assure you that our assessor, working with the state, is very capable of taxing personal property at the right rate. A battery electric farm like installation like the ones proposed out on Bayview Ridge and in Cedar Woolley, they might have 200 of these battery containers. So 200 containers. So when was the last time that a business proposed a $200 million investment in Mount Vernon? I can't remember. I've lived here my whole life. I think it's great for Skagit County that they're going to be getting a $200 million facility out on Bayview Ridge. I think it's very likely that one will go in. And I think that facility is going to be taxed initially. It's probably going to pay close to $2 million a year in property taxes. That'll decline as the batteries wear out and depreciate. But that's a great thing for Skagit County. If we were so lucky to have a battery developer come here and locate something, we could get also millions of dollars in property taxes over the lifetime of that facility. If we're looking at multi-million-dollar budget shortfalls, we should be open to the possibility, as unlikely as it is, that a developer would come in and want to invest even $50 million, maybe $100 million in Mount Vernon that then we could tax. As I said, I lived in Mount Vernon most of my life. I remember when Mount Vernon was the retail center of the county. And then that changed. We're never going to go back and get what we had in the 80s. We're never going to take the economic model that Burlington ran throughout the aughts and into the tens. We're not going to get that. We need to be thinking about the future. What is going to provide tax revenue for the future? I don't know if that's batteries, but it's possible. So in closing, if any utility, say Puget Sound Energy or one of its developers, are looking at Mount Vernon for a battery facility, unlikely as that may be, this emergency ordinance is a flashing red sign saying development not welcome here. Our best case scenario at this point, assuming this ordinance stays in effect for the next 6 to 12 months, is that we develop a vision for how a battery facility could possibly benefit the city of Mount Vernon. Tax revenue, we already talked about that. One possibility, kind of unlikely again, but possibility is if Puget Sound Energy does want to build something here, I don't even know where they would put a battery facility. We only have a couple of large substations in the town anyways, something that should be looked at when this emergency ordinance is discussed. But if Puget Sound Energy is looking at locating a facility here, is there any way we could incentivize them to do so in exchange for something we value, such as flood storage? We like tax revenue. I mean, the numbers are, millions of dollars overall. The city might end up with $1 million over 10 years. It's better than nothing. But maybe PSE offers some amount of flood storage in exchange for that battery facility holding power during a flood event, rather than having to run water through their turbines just to supply the community. I don't know if that's a great idea, but those are the sorts of discussions we could be having in order to try to extract something from this moratorium, which otherwise is just saying, please don't come. We don't want to be a part of the energy transition. And there's really no upside to that at all. Thank you. I'd be happy to discuss this with you in person. Thank you for listening to my comments.
Thank you, Kevin. Enjoy your vacation. Anyone else? Okay, seeing no other public comment, I will close the public hearing. And council, if you have more questions for Stacy, now's the time. Otherwise, this is ordinance 3915.
Well, I guess I'll just make a motion. I'd like to move that we approve ordinance 3915. I appreciate Kevin's comments, Alicia's comments. Kevin, the things you talked about are things we are thinking about. We're studying that type of thing. We do not want to put a red light in development in Mount Vernon. So what you said is stuff we've already discussed when it comes to this ordinance. So I think it's smart of us to take the time to do the studies that we need to do and to understand and to learn, because none of us are experts at this, and except for maybe Andrew. Honestly, and that's an honest statement. We want to learn about this and make sure we're making the right decision for our citizens and for the city of Mount Vernon.
Motion by Mary to approve ordinance 3915.
I'm going to second that one. And I'd like to, do you want comments prior to the second, or?
Yeah, that's fine.
I also appreciate Kevin's comments. Just from my standpoint, I don't know enough about it, but I know to say that because you have a car that has electric battery in your garage and it doesn't burn down, doesn't mean that they don't. I had my niece that almost burned her house down because she was trying to charge a battery for her electric grill. So I don't know enough about these things, and it's not that I am trying to be like, I don't want tax business coming into our county. And if they really want this in here, I think they can wait 6 months or 90 days, whatever we're doing on this. I don't think they should, that's going to be an absolute red flag and just turn away and run because people have questions in a city about if there's smells, if there's noise, and where is it going to go if it's up by Blackburn on our top of a hill where we have a residential community up there and a power station. So I will second that motion.
Motion by Mary and a second by Gary. More discussion, council?
Question. So what is the time frame on this that we're being asked to vote on? Is it 6 months? Okay.
I can offer a clarification correction. The development work plan right now is for up to a year, but certainly the council can make a motion to modify it to 6 months.
And so the one we're considering is.
The council also can repeal this at any time if you have the ability to Find a regulation you like. This is the maximum of the moratorium. This is not mandatory that it be a year.
Yes, Melissa.
Thanks, Peter. Yeah, for me, I just want to make sure that we are taking a measured approach. Andrew can be very persuasive, and I appreciate that he has shared his knowledge with us. It has been helpful for me in coming to this decision. But I do feel that we get one chance, and I want to make sure that we do it right. And that's not to say if we don't pass this, we aren't doing it right. But I do want to make sure that the concerns of the community are addressed. And so that's where I am also.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no.
No.
Motion passes. Thank you, Stacy.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you,
Item B is the approval of street closure requests. And Parks and Enrichment Director Jennifer Berner has this. Jennifer.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So let me pull my information out here. So this evening, we have 3 street closures for you to consider. I'm going to do all 3 of them. If you have questions, I'll pause after each one, and you guys can ask me any questions, and then we can just do one approval at the end, if that works for everybody.
Yep.
Sound good? Okay. So the first one is for Temperate Habits. They are doing their 5th anniversary celebration on Saturday, August 16th. They will provide live entertainment and a beer garden on Gate Street adjacent to their establishment. So they're looking to close Gate Street between First Street and Second Street from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. And the map, you have the map in there showing their closure. Do you have any questions on that particular? They've done this for 5 years in a row now.
I just can't believe it's been 5 years. Congratulations to them.
Yes. The Second Street closure is for Hoop for the Valley. It's a 3-on-3 basketball tournament, and this is their 2nd year. Last year was a very successful first year, and they are coming back to do this tournament again. They host youth and adult team tournaments. It's August 16th and Sunday, August 17th. They'll be along the Skagit River. They bring in temporary basketball courts to the commercial cold storage area parking lot and the parking lot to the north of the commercial cold storage. It's like the Levy Lid Lift, right? Trying to say that fast. And along Cleveland Avenue in front of City Hall. So their street closure is First Street between Snoqualmie and Kincaid, Main Street from Kincaid to Pine, and Cleveland between Kincaid and Snoqualmie. And again, you have a map in your packet that shows you the visual of that closure. Any questions on that one? Okay.
I don't have any questions, but I am so excited that Hoop for the Valley is here and they've come back.
Yes.
I know that it's growing. I know that, I understand they're bringing in musicians this year and they're bringing in some bleachers. And of course, they've expanded to the street in front of the mayor's office. I wonder how that happened. Anyway, I'm very excited and it's a wonderful cause. So.
It is. It's great to see. And there's a lot of energy. I went out to it last year and there was just a lot of energy that you feel when you're out there, a lot of positive, fun energy. So I'm sure it will even double this year and be fantastic. Again, I encourage you to go out there and see it happening. 7th Street Block Party. So the residents of North 7th Street between Fulton Street and Lawrence Street would like to have a neighborhood summer barbecue. And they are looking to block off 7th Street between Lawrence and Fulton Street. And again, you have the map in your packet there.
They did that last year too, didn't they?
They did.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So staff recommends the approval of all 3 requested street closures. If you have any questions,
Questions for Jennifer?
I have
Questions?
I have no questions. I'll make a motion that council approve the 3 street closures.
Second.
Motion by Melissa and a second by Navor. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion passes. Item C is an approval of a resolution, general election proposition, and Jennifer's going to share this one as well. Jennifer.
So before you this evening, council, is a resolution to change the name on the levy lid lift. So on July 9th, of 2025, council adopted Resolution 1077, placing a property tax levy lid lift on the November 4th, 2025 general election. That resolution has not been filed with the county yet. You passed it, but it has not been filed with the county yet. That deadline to file that is not until August 5th. And so we have several things to submit on August 5th, so that's why it hasn't been submitted yet. We're going to submit everything at one time. In looking at the levy lid list, staff recommending a title change to allow for greater clarity of what the levy is actually for. The current resolution reads, levy lid lift for community services and improvements. The change that we are asking for is, again, for greater clarity for the public to understand what this levy is actually for, is levy for basic public safety, essential services, and improvements. So staff requests council to adopt resolution number 1078.
Questions for Jennifer on this one?
I move to adopt a resolution 1078.
Second.
Motion by Mary and a second by Gary. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion passes. Item 6D is approval of a resolution for levy lid lift pro and con committees. Jennifer.
So council adopted a resolution, like we talked about, placing a property levy lid lift on the November 4th, 2025 general election. The primary goals of the levy lid lift are to relieve pressure from the general fund, enhance critical city services, and create sustainable funding for parks and public safety. As per Skagit County Auditor's Office, jurisdictions need to appoint committee members to pro and con committees. Pro and con committee members must live in the city limits of Mount Vernon, and each committee is limited to 3 members appointed by city council. The names of individuals interested in being on the pro and con committees must be turned into Skagit County elections by August 5th, 2025. Staff will inform the appointed pro and con committees of the rules, procedures, and deadlines for submitting statements for the local voters pamphlet. 3 applications were received for the pro committee: Danny Pickering, Mark Holst, and Mike Lavera. No applications were received for the con committee. Staff did send out information on the pro and con committee through social media posts, sent out news release, and put it on the city website is how we were able to advertise the pro and con committee information. So staff requests city council to adopt resolution 1079, appointing individuals on the pro and con committees for the levy lid lift.
All right. Questions?
We have 3 great candidates here. On the pro, I'm going to move to approve resolution 1079.
Second.
Motion by Gary and a second by Melissa. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Motion passes. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Item 6E is the approval of an agreement with Island County Emergency Service Center, and Blaine Chesterfield is going to present this. Hi, Blaine.
Thank you, Mayor Donovan, City Council. Appreciate your time tonight. I was talking to Executive Director Sophia Cofield and Senior System Technologist Judy Hill earlier, and they were saying that their official name is Island County Emergency Services Center, but everybody calls them ICOM 911. So I will probably use both. I'll probably use ICOM 911 more often, but so, and they're both right back there. There's Sophia right there and Judy. So they could get technical if anybody desires. So the recommended action is requesting that the city council authorize the mayor to execute the cell tower lease option, and I'm highlighting option, agreement with Island County Emergency Services Center. The proposed agreement is to allow for the construction of a 30-foot extension on top of the existing east tower located within the Little Mountain Park Communications Center Communication Tower compound. The tower's total height right now is 130 feet. This 30-foot extension would take it, of course, up to 160 feet. The extension and microwave dish antennas proposed will improve a vital link and expand critical communication services to the ICOM 911 areas in South Camino and Woodby Islands for law enforcement, fire, and emergency medical services. In addition, Skagit 911 may also benefit from this extension as it would allow them to pursue connectivity issues that they have in places like Lake Kavanaugh. In 2023, the state legislature provided funding for this project, and over the last 2 years, ICOM 911 has been working to procure leases, drawings, diagrams, and studies. The lease option agreement before the council for consideration will allow ICOM 911 to continue working with the Mount Vernon Development Services Department in procuring permits necessary to construct this project. The lease option terms include a one-time fee of $25,610, which is recovering some of the costs the city has spent on legal fees and others in order to get this agreement ready. The option is for a period of 180 days, and the monthly rent is $1,667. Insurance and identification as set forth in the lease is in this agreement. Once the cell tower lease option and construction is complete, a cell tower lease agreement will be brought to the city council for consideration at that time. And that is also included in the packet as Exhibit E, if you wanted to take a look at what that is. Staff recommendation is for the council to approve a motion to authorize the mayor to execute the cell tower lease agreement with Island County Emergency Services Center, ICOM 911.
All right, questions for Blaine? Or a motion?
I would just like to say congratulations to Sophia for being aggressively searching for state funding, and congratulations on that. I would move to approve the agreement with ICOM 911.
Motion by Mary and a second by Edith. More discussion on this one? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passes. Thank you, Blaine.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council.
Item 6F is the approval of an agreement with Highline Construction and Public Works Director Facilities Czar.
Oh, it's SAR.
Yeah,
Wow.
Ms. Phillips.
Let's not hope that it's 1916. We don't want that. Or I believe 17 is when they lopped the head, but nonetheless. Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, City Council. I'm here before you this evening to talk about the City Administration Building, formerly known as the Old Library. So before I get started, I just wanted to kind of give you an idea of, okay, holy cow, what are we doing here with the Old Library? There's been some discussion within the staff, again, working with the mayor, working with Steve, as far as, what does this kind of look like? What are we looking to do? One thing I would just offer up to you is that this evening, when the mayor's talked about the comp plan, we talked about the addition of 6,700 new residents. We've talked about a variety of other things, which again, the levy that we're looking at implementing, or the citizens voting on, is for more people because of the level of service that we would have, more staff. Similar conversation that we're looking at here. Literally right now, The HR department is having someone work out of a closet. I mean, it's a very small office, but literally a closet. We have the city attorney's office. That's where Aaron's old office was. You would agree that that is a closet? Yeah, okay. So the city attorney's office as well. We redid that particular office, but it is, again, very cramped. And when you look at Public Works admin, that we share a facility with Mary, that building is extremely old. We've basically put as much lipstick on that building as we possibly can, but we're in need of something that's new. And again, with the staff that would be looking to grow, even if it was just one body, we don't have anywhere to put them. And then the last would be with Stacy over in Development Services. Similar situation there with growth. There's not necessarily the space that is required for that. So, second thing I would offer up to you is the amount of office space that is open downtown. We have a building that used to be the old bank across the street from us. I know Doug has been advocating for possibly buying that building, but I know it's not there anymore. But the idea is that building has been renovated and has been open for office space, and it's still vacant. We have a variety of other office space leases on Second Street that, again, have vacancies that are associated with them. So it's not like there is a boom for if the city was to do something like we have with Kincaid Holdings or the Lincoln Theater, where we own it. And I'll just let you know, that's not necessarily I know the historic value. I know the impact that it has for citizenry, the council's desire to keep that. I'm just telling you from somebody who is in charge of maintaining it and the rental that goes along with it. I work with Steve in that. That is a huge amount of time, not a whole lot of resources for money coming in, revenue to the city. And there's a lot of money going into the buildings just because of their age from a standpoint of, again, limited budget there. So those were some considerations that the city discussed internally prior to bringing this forward. This is just the next step, if you will, in this particular city administration building. There's still a change of occupancy that still needs to happen with changing it from an old library to office space, which would be the next iterative step, which I would come to you sometime this year to do. Okay, so city staff recommends approval of the bid award to Highline Construction and authorization for mayor to execute a contract for the city administration building tenant improvement project in the amount of $246,000 or $246,594.11. As city council is aware, the former old library city administration building, earlier in 2025, Valdez Construction completed deconstruction and performed asbestos remediation efforts for the building. Siemens Corporation just recently completed the ERV-HRV project that is required to update HVAC systems to meet the change of occupancy regulations. So this has been a very iterative process over the last basically year and a half, even while the library was being occupied, that we were doing things with the HVAC system, the roof, making sure all of that was in good working order. Highline Construction will complete the next phase of tenant improvement construction, which will include remodeling all 3 bathrooms, which are basically down to there's no drywall, it's just studs that are in there. A break room, kitchenette, patch sand, prime and paint approximately 15,000 feet of existing wall, and install approximately 25,000 square feet of carpet tile and 700 square feet of 4-inch black cove trim, just like the trim that's down here. 5 bids were received on July 9th, 2025, with Highline Construction being the lowest responsive bid. And again, I'm here for you to authorize the mayor to execute this contract pending your questions.
Council, you recall, this is all ARPA funding for this facility you directed to renovate and renew by the end of last year to commit that. So just carrying that out. Questions for Chris? Melissa?
I don't have any questions, Chris. I just want to take a moment to say thank you for the listening public to go through and explain exactly what we've done, why we're doing it, and the fact that we can't lease it out. There's just not a market for it. I just want to say thank you for that, and to the mayor for pointing out that it is not general funds. It's ARPA funding.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and again, the bigger plan, consolidating city services and offices within the old library could potentially, will likely vacate a building for the city, the Public Works building, located to the south of the old library parking lot. Other questions for Chris? Any motions?
I'll move to approve the bid award to Highline Construction.
Second.
Motion by Mary and a second by Gary. More discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, say no.
No.
Motion passes. Thank you, Chris. Item 7, for item 7, I will ask the city attorney to please call the mayor and city council into executive session.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd invite the mayor and members of city council to enter into executive session to discuss issues related to collective bargaining sessions and planning or adoption strategy or positions related to collective bargaining, which is entirely exempt from the Open Public Meetings Act pursuant to RCW 4230-140 subsection 4. 20 minutes. Council would reconvene at 8:21. No action after.
With that, we will adjourn the city council meeting for July 23rd at 8:01 p.m.